right now, today. 7 named entities have specific assignments against specific areas of your life, not your life in general. One has your pride. One has your loneliness. One has every small comfort you reach for. Instead of doing what matters. And the most dangerous one, the last one on this list, is the one you have never heard of, because it does not attack you from outside. It works through the part of you that already wants to give up. The Bible, the Book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Testament of Solomon. Scholars have spent centuries on these texts, and what they consistently describe is not a category of evil. It is a system, a hierarchy, 7 fallen angels, each one with a name, a rank, 0.5 seg, and one specific domain of human weakness. They were built to exploit. This is the complete list. And by the end, something in you is going to recognize every single one. We start with the one Jesus named directly, not a metaphor, not a symbol, a specific entity. You cannot serve both God and Mammon. Mammon's domain is not greed. That word is too small. What the Testament of Solomon describes is more precise. The slow replacement of meaning with acquisition. The process by which you begin measuring everything, every relationship, every day, every experience, by what you gained or lost from it. His weapon is a feeling. The feeling that what you have right now is never quite enough. That the next level, the next purchase, the next version of your life will finally produce what this one did not. Psychology has a name for this today: hedonic adaptation. The ancient writers did not have that term, but they had Mammon. And what makes him uniquely dangerous is his patience. He does not destroy you quickly. He adjusts your values so gradually that by the time you realize what you traded, your time, your presence, the people who needed you, the trades are already done. You know Mammon has reached you when you cannot enjoy what you have, only what you do not have yet. Sound familiar? Asmodeus appears in more demonological texts than almost any other entity. Book of Tobit, Dead Sea Scrolls, Testament of Solomon. His domain is consistently described as lust. But that word, again, is too small. What Asmodeus specifically targets is not physical desire. It is the replacement of genuine connection with a counterfeit version that looks identical and produces the opposite result. The Book of Tobit shows him destroying 7 marriages, not randomly, systematically, each one dismantled before real intimacy could form. His goal is not to make you want too much. It is to make real connection feel impossible, to ensure every relationship you have is filtered through performance, through want, through what the other person can give you, rather than who they actually are. The result is a person who is never alone and is always lonely. His emotional signature is specific. The feeling that no relationship has ever fully satisfied. That something is always slightly missing. That the love you actually want exists somewhere else, with someone else, in some other version of your life. The most populated prison in human history has no walls. It just has that feeling. Now the one everyone thinks they know. Here is what most people get wrong. Lucifer is not primarily the ruler of hell. In most ancient texts, that role belongs to other entities entirely. Lucifer's specific domain, the thing he was cast out for, the thing he targets in human beings, is pride, but not arrogance. Something more precise. The moment a being with real gifts looks at itself and decides it deserves more than it was given, that it is, in fact, better than the one who created it. Lucifer does not come to people who have nothing. He comes to people with real ability, real potential, real gifts. And he whispers one thing: you deserve more than you are getting. And everyone around you already knows it. It feels like ambition. It looks like self-respect. The texts are clear about where it leads. The distance between Lucifer's fall and the moment he decided he deserved more. Less than a single thought. Leviathan is older than most of what we call the Bible. Job, Psalms, Isaiah, a primordial serpent at the edges of creation itself. But what Leviathan controls in human beings is not chaos. It is envy. And there is a difference between envy and jealousy that the texts are very precise about. Jealousy is the fear of losing what you have. Envy is the resentment of what someone else has. Leviathan's domain is the specific darkness that arises when someone else's good fortune feels like a personal injury. Medieval texts make one observation about Leviathan that no other fallen angel shares. Envy is the only corruption that provides zero pleasure to the person experiencing it. Every other fallen angel on this list at least temporarily feels good. Pride feels like confidence. Greed feels like drive. Lust feels like connection. Envy feels like nothing except pain. It destroys the person carrying it without building anything in return. Leviathan targets specifically the people who are capable of more than they are currently doing, because the gap between what you could be and what someone else already is, that is exactly the gap he fills. And it will consume decades if you let it. Lord of the Flies, Lord of Filth, Lord of Things That Swarm. That translation is more accurate than it sounds, because Beelzebub's domain is not dramatic corruption. It is the accumulation of small ones. The Testament of Solomon is specific. He causes destruction through what is tiny, persistent, and collectively overwhelming, just like flies. No single fly destroys anything, but enough of them in the right place will ruin something that was once perfectly good. His domain in human behavior is the compulsive, repeated choice of immediate comfort over long-term well-being. The extra hour of sleep that becomes a pattern. The distraction that becomes an addiction. The small dishonesty that becomes a habit. None of these destroy a life in a single moment. They do it, fly by fly. He does not need something dramatic. He just needs you to reach for something small instead of doing the hard thing every single day. This one is different from every other entry on this list. Azazel did not corrupt. He taught. The Book of Enoch describes Azazel descending to earth and sharing forbidden knowledge with humanity. Weapons, warfare, vanity, how to make swords, how to make cosmetics designed to make human beings desire each other based on appearance. And then the text says something deeply uncomfortable. Humanity took this knowledge willingly, eagerly. Azazel did not force anything on anyone. He simply showed us what we were capable of, and we ran with it. Every weapon ever built, every war fought for appearance over substance, every time human intelligence was pointed at harm instead of healing. The texts place that at its root, under Azazel. The most disturbing part of his entry in the Book of Enoch is not what he gave us. It is the reminder that we never gave it back. This is the one almost nobody talks about, and it may be the most dangerous of all. Abaddon appears in the book of Revelation, angel of the bottomless pit, king of an army of destruction. His name in both Hebrew and Greek means the same thing: destruction. But what Abaddon specifically controls is not destruction that comes from outside. The ancient texts describe his primary domain as the destruction human beings direct at themselves: self-sabotage, self-abandonment, the quiet, persistent way people systematically undermine the things and people they love most, destroying their own health, their own relationships, their own futures, in ways that make no rational sense from the outside. The book of Revelation describes his army as locusts. And here is the detail biblical scholars have focused on for centuries. The locusts do not kill, they torment. 4 months without stopping. Why not death? Why specifically torment? Because Abaddon's goal is not to end you. It is to make you end yourself. Slowly, through the accumulated weight of self-directed destruction that somehow feels more comfortable than the work of healing. You are fundamentally beyond repair. The damage is too deep. The pattern is too established. Trying is no longer worth it. That feeling is not a conclusion. It is a specific, intentional lie from a specific, intentional source. Here's what all 7 have in common. None of them create anything new in you. Every single one works with what is already there. Real emotions, real wounds, real gifts, real desires. They do not invent your pride. They redirect it. They do not create your longing for connection. They corrupt it. They do not manufacture your intelligence. They point it somewhere it was never meant to go. A force entirely foreign and external would be easy to resist. You would recognize it as other. But a force that works through the most authentic parts of who you are. That is the architecture of the most effective trap ever designed. The writers who documented these entities across thousands of years were not trying to scare people. They were trying to give people a map of the exact mechanisms by which something external turns what is most human about you against yourself. Whether you read that literally or metaphorically, the map is accurate. And maps exist for one reason: so that people who know where they are can find a different way to go. If any of these landed closer to home than you expected, the comments are open. I read all of them. And the book of Enoch, the text that names Azazel, that describes the war before the war, that contains chapters deliberately removed from the canonical Bible. That video is next. Do not miss it.